This is big breaking emergency news. I was just sent a letter, and this letter is warning law enforcement around the country. This is a letter from the Department of Homeland Security warning law enforcement around the country that, quote, green lights have been given for attacks inside the U.S., right? This is a urgent warning. Multiple major U.S. cities are under threat right now, and we also have big news going on as well with the Biden administration. Biden just authorized thousands of U.S. Marines to be sent to the Middle East and Israel right now. This is a live situation. There's also a destroyer group being sent to the Middle East as well. All right, so live situations happening, thousands of U.S. Marines being deployed, and we also have explosions happening as well inside of Michigan, all right, due to F-16 fighter jets. We will get to that in just a little bit too, but we have lots of big breaking news, okay? We have this letter that has been sent from the Department of Homeland Security, and this is a message from the Chief Intelligence Officer. All right, this is big. They're warning that, quote, green light attacks have been authorized inside the U.S. We are also seeing terror suspects from overseas being detained at the southern border right now, right? So there's a lot of big news going on, and this all goes hand in hand with what's happening internationally as well. All right, we're seeing all these fronts advancing. Okay, just right now we have Biden. He just authorized over 2,500 Marines from the 24th Marine Expeditionary Unit, right, to be sent to the Middle East right now to defend the region against and respond to an Iranian attack. All right, this is big. He just got off the phone with Netanyahu, right? And he is warning. This is what he said. It says the president discussed efforts to support Israel's defense against threats, including against ballistic missiles, drones, and to include new defensive U.S. military deployments. All right, so he is making a commitment to have U.S. military deployments in this region, and he's saying it's to defend against Iran and their groups, okay? And he is saying that 12 surface ships are being deployed, and also over 2,500 U.S. Marines have also been deployed as well, right? So this is big. We're having destroyer groups, and they're sending it all over there right now. All right, they're sending the whole squad over there. There's a dozen ships being sent to the Mediterranean Sea. All right, so this is big, and we could see something pop off in the next 48 hours. And also, all U.S. naval vessels have been withdrawn from the Red Sea due to a possible Iranian attack. Right, so all U.S. vessels have been evacuated from this region as well. Even shipping vessels are no longer traveling through this region. All right, so live situation, 2,500 U.S. Marines are now in the arena and in the theater as well. And we're going to see a lot more happen, I believe, maybe over the weekend or maybe at the beginning of the week, right? And this goes hand in hand with what we are seeing right now. We are having this letter that was sent by law enforcement, right? This is from the DHS. They've sent a nationwide letter to all the different police departments warning them of, quote, green light attacks inside the U.S., right? This is big. I'm going to read some stuff from this memo. And we also have 3 Palestinians that were just arrested with terror ties that were detained after illegally crossing the U.S. southern border, right? and agents are overwhelmed in the San Diego sector right now where they crossed. And now in this memo, we are being warned that these groups that are coming across our U.S. southern border are now being given a, quote, green light for attacks inside the U.S. and on law enforcement officials. All right, so this is big. We also have part of this memo. It says, quote, the San Diego Field Office Intelligence Unit assesses that individuals inspired by or reacting to the current Israel-Hamas conflict may attempt to travel to or from the area of hostilities in the Middle East via transit across the southwest border. It also says, quote, foreign fighters motivated by ideology or mercenary soldiers of fortune may attempt to travel to or from the U.S., to or from countries in the Middle East through Mexico. All right, so they're warning that these groups are entering the U.S. right now, and we also have these U.S. destroyer groups in the Middle East, all right, and 2,500 U.S. Marines there right now. So all these things are tied together while our U.S. border is wide open, and now we could see attacks inside the U.S., right? And they are warning that they have credible intel that groups from Venezuela are, quote, green lighting attacks inside the U.S. right now, right? This is what this memo that was just put out. We have a screenshot here of this memo that was leaked, right? This is a memo that was sent out across the country to multiple different police departments: Denver Police Department, Chicago, Albuquerque, New York, all right? Multiple different police departments are on high alert and red alert right now. San Diego, all right? You can see here, here's a screenshot of this memo. It says, this is a Department of Homeland Security memo. It says, please see attached Officer Safety Awareness Bulletin from the Albuquerque Police Department. They have received information from federal partners regarding possible, quote, green light attacks on law enforcement from the TDA criminal organization operating in Denver, Colorado. All right. It says credible human sources from Colorado provided information on TDA giving a, quote, green light to fire on or attack law enforcement. It says, as many of you know, we have TDA presence here in Chicago, so please be vigilant as you encounter these members or affiliates during your investigation and operational activities. All right, so they're warning that these groups that have been infiltrating the U.S. and they've been taking over, they've been recruiting people, okay? And this is a group primarily out of Venezuela, and Venezuela and Iran are very close allies. All right, so all these things are starting to add up now, and now these groups are giving the green light to openly attack law enforcement and disregard law enforcement in these big cities. All right, they're essentially declaring war on them, and they're saying they're going to do whatever they want. They're giving the green light for them to do that in these major cities like Denver, Chicago, Albuquerque, New York, right? And with this green light in Aurora, Colorado as well, just in the past few days, because we've had these disruptions in Venezuela with the voting. There's been a lot of civil unrest inside of Venezuela. Right when all that was happening a couple days ago in Aurora, Colorado, there was a major gang riot of this group in Aurora, Colorado just a couple days ago, where firearms were being blasted into the air, right? And there were thousands and thousands of people that took over this entire apartment complex, all right? And people were shut down, and it took all night, and it was outside of a Target as well too. It was this apartment complex and a Target in Aurora, Colorado, and these things were vandalized, taken over, and they were openly displaying these signs for this group, and these Venezuelan flags as well, right? So these things are already happening. They're already flexing their muscle and showing that they control certain areas. They essentially control Aurora, Colorado, and they're saying their main operating hub is out of Denver, right? And check this out. This is what a Border Patrol agent said as well. He spilled the beans on this, all right? Completely spilled the beans. This is a Border Patrol agent at the San Diego sector. And he is warning that they have been overwhelmed, but they don't have access to criminal databases in other countries to properly vet these people coming in. It says one unidentified agent spoke to the outlet on the condition of being anonymous. He said, quote, "Knowing who these guys are, we have like no access to anything international. Like we really don't, and it kind of sucks." This is what the agent said. Quote, "I wanted to get into Border Patrol to protect us from terror." And he says, "It looks like, well, I'm probably letting these terror suspects into the country." All right, that is what this Border Patrol agent said. He said he's letting them into the country. He said he wanted to protect the country from this, and this is why he got into Border Patrol. But he's saying he feels like he's just letting them in now. This is absolutely insane that we are completely vulnerable and wide open like this. And they're even admitting it. They know what's going on. And everyone stands down from the top to the bottom. There's a stand down order for our country, for our border to be completely wide open, right? And now we're seeing the consequences of it. I'm telling you, this group has taken over Denver, Colorado, and especially Aurora. They're taking over hotels. They're taking over apartment complexes and just taking them over, okay? 1,000 people show up and start squatting and taking over the entire apartment complex and hotel, right? And just start going into rooms. This is what's happening right now. This is what happened the past few days in Aurora, Colorado, right? So these things are already happening. Now they're giving the, quote, green light to attack law enforcement and potentially other attacks inside our country as well. All right, we already keep seeing disruption after disruption, and we could already be seeing attacks, cyber attacks. All these things are already happening on a consistent basis. All right, we also have a explosion that happened in Michigan. Okay, so we had a F-16 fighter jet in Michigan operating through the Ohio National Guard. Okay, and this F-16 fighter jet dumped 2 of its fuel tanks during an emergency, and one exploded and the other one damaged cars in a parking lot. All right, this happened near Baldwin, Michigan. This was a fighter jet from the Ohio National Guard that was doing training, and it had to evacuate its 2 onboard extra fuel tanks. Okay, so these are big tanks that are right under the wings, and they had to get rid of these 2 tanks, and one of them apparently exploded upon impact, hitting Lake Huron, and another one apparently landed in a parking lot and caused damage to several vehicles. All right, and they're saying there were no injuries that they have accounted for. All right, so just another event going on inside the U.S. What's going on? Was this some kind of mishap? Remember this fighter jet 6 months ago, maybe a year ago now. Time just goes by so fast. That was missing in South Carolina. Do you remember that? A pilot had to eject from his jet and it was missing. right? So what's going on? Are there some type of something going on in the background that's causing these mishaps? It's possible, and these events keep happening with our National Guard, with our military, with our jets. We keep seeing these strange events happening, right? So hopefully it was nothing. Hopefully it was just some type of flight emergency, some type of training emergency, and thankfully nobody was hurt from that, right? But somebody could get hurt from this memo that was sent out, right? They're giving the quote green light for attacks on law enforcement. And guys, something that people aren't thinking about is that these groups could be activated during or before or after 2024 elections, okay? We could see these groups cause chaos inside the U.S. if there are not election results that they won, right? We could see them activated, and we could see these groups target critical infrastructure, okay? They're already targeting law enforcement, so they're not scared of that. They're not scared to target law enforcement. They're giving the green light for it. So if they have enough numbers, which they are actively recruiting people inside the U.S. as well, especially new people that are coming over, they are trying to recruit them and get them a part of these groups. And they could have thousands of people, right? They could have thousands of people ready to attack inside certain big cities, all right, where they have these networks. And they could overwhelm law enforcement. They could overwhelm the local law enforcement in certain areas potentially, all right? And we can be in scenarios where the National Guard has to be deployed. The military has to be on the streets to even deal with these gangs, and they could target critical infrastructure as well and knock it out, right? And we just had a warning from this from Trump as well too. Trump was just talking about this memo that was just sent out, this letter that was just sent out. Trump was just warning of it, and he is warning that there's thousands of these people that are ready to attack. I want you to listen to this really quick. This was this warning that Trump just gave last night.
Just yesterday it was reported that more than 1,000 members of the savage Venezuelan gang Trendy Arguay are plotting to conduct ambush attacks on police and law enforcement in the United States. All the while Harris and Biden sit in the White House and try and figure out who's dumber. They sit in the White House. Think of it. Massive numbers of Venezuelan gang members. Now, Venezuela is very smart. They sent them into our country. And then you read that crime is down 72% in Venezuela, which it is. On Sunday, in a separate incident, a Venezuelan illegal alien criminal let in the border by our border czar, Harris, shot a female police officer in Texas. You read about it. Multiple times with a rifle. Thankfully, the officer is perhaps going to survive. They don't know yet, but probably.
All right, so these attacks are already happening. Okay, this just happened to a police officer, and she is in recovery right now, fighting for her life. All right, so these attacks are already happening. They've been given the green light. And if it's not going to stop with law enforcement, then it's not going to stop with you either, right? You need to be able to protect yourself, defend yourself, protect your family, protect your home in an event like this, because they don't even respect the police. So who are you supposed to call if they will even go to war with them, right? You're going to have to be able to defend yourself as well too, especially in these big cities like this where the response time is getting slower and slower as the services are being overwhelmed, right? So please hit it up for me down there, guys, to help get this warning out. I appreciate that. There's a lot of big stuff going on. They just sent out this urgent warning of these green light attacks. All right, we have Biden sending out 2,500 U.S. Marines, and we have big escalations happening. All right, all these things are tied together, because if we see things escalate overseas, we could see these attacks ramp up inside the United States as well. All right, so thank you guys. I hope you guys are getting prepared, getting ready, staying safe. All right, we are working hard to take it to the next level here. All right, that's what we've really been focusing on here behind the scenes, working hard to take things to the next level on the homestead, for prepping, for getting ready, for getting prepared, because it's go time. Everyone can feel it, and we don't know how much time we have left until something big potentially happens. All right, let's hope it doesn't, but we are in the age of these black swan events right now. Okay, do you remember that Microsoft cyber attack that wiped out computers, trains, planes globally? Do you remember that? The CrowdStrike cyber attack. Or I guess it was just a glitch. It wasn't even it's a quote glitch. They always say it's a glitch, right? They always say it's a glitch. That happened just 2 weeks ago, and it has been memory hold. Everyone forgot, everyone moved on, and people are still dealing with that. There's computers and systems and businesses that are still trying to recover from that. All right, so that was a big dry run, a big test, and we could see something even bigger happen along those lines. All right, so now's the time to dig in, right? That's what we're doing here behind the scenes. I appreciate all the support and you guys listening and watching. I hope you guys are getting prepared and getting ready. Hope you have big blessings for your life, your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.